Hey, everybody, this is Stephen Jeffries from Fright Night, and you're listening to Without Your Head.
Welcome to the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neil.
I'm Mama Creepy.
That would make me terrible, Troy.
It's a very sad day. Found out that a longtime friend of Without Your Head, and personal friend, known for a long time, met her several times. I was going to be meeting her again here in Texas, or perhaps all of us will be meeting her. Ebony Strange called into the show. She's been part of the chats and videos with us. She was murdered Tuesday night.
That's just horrible.
Yeah, I'm only 30 years old.
So sad.
Our son Ian's 4 years old. I don't know what really else to say about that. I'd like to put together a tribute show to her at some point with some of the people that knew her, and they will leave some memories of her. But we're going to dedicate the show tonight to the memory of Ebony. I knew she loved what we do in the shadows, and it's kind of bittersweet here. The last interaction I had with her was she put a heart on the banner for the What We Do in the Shadows show, because one of her favorite movies.
Yeah, our condolences to her family, and just definitely just a cool, all-around cool person. Always loved talking with her.
Yeah, just sending out all the love to all our friends and all our family, everybody that's hurting right now. You know, it's such a hard time in this world, and it's just so sad. Such a sad thing, and she's so young. So, yeah.
Yep. Just senseless things. I don't know what else to say about it, but had a lot of fun memories with her.
But this show's for her.
Yep, definitely.
This show's for her.
So later on tonight, we will have Johnny Brugge on the show, and hopefully Ben Fransham will be joining us here momentarily. But we do want to announce here, coming up, this is the last show of 2017. Next year will be the first show of 2018. New year, which means something we've been doing for the last 5 years, the year of, and we thought about it, and we decided that this year, this is the last year of the Beast. 2018 will be the year of the infestation, as we're gonna, Without Your Head, will infest the world. An audio infestation.
The infestation, that's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, infestation is just perfect. We're gonna get creepy crawly all over the place. Yeah, I like that.
Decapitation, infestation.
Infestation of decapitation.
I dig
it. I love that idea. Yeah, and I love that for our first show of the year. I mean, we're dedicating January to Death House, which the movie Death House will be coming out next month, January 26th, correct? I believe.
Sounds right.
Yeah, I believe January 26th, and which is just a mega blockbuster of it's insane how many horror idols are in this. It's just crazy. But starting off next week to kick the show off with a big bang, we got Lloyd Kaufman, the godfather of trauma, and starring in Death House. And we've also got Lee Mark Jones, who's also working with trauma and who was in Spy Darlings that we watched this last year, and we interviewed Salem. I still butcher your name, but I love you, so I'm just not going to butcher it anymore. But Salem, you're amazing. So we're going to have them on the show next week on the 4th to kick off kick off the year of infestation. Hopefully
it'll be sweet. It's been Lloyd Kaufman's always a great guest here on Without Your Head. He's been on the podcast a couple times.
One of my favorites.
And we've done some video interviews with him. He's a good man. I'll always remember at the it was at the class in Return to Nukem High. And so we did the video interview with him. And we asked, can we record some of the movie? And he was like, record the whole thing. Just record. And his wife was there with him. And behind him, she was like, a little bit. And doing like like an inch with it. I thought it was very funny. Because he was like, he just recorded the whole thing. He didn't care. But she realized, you don't want to just bootleg the whole film on our video.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that made sense.
He's just the sweetest guy. I adore Lloyd Kaufman. And even with Death House, last month we had some other stars that are going to be in Death House also. We had Adrienne Barbeau, who's going to be in Death House. We had Debbie Rochon, who's also going to be starring in Death House. The list is just, it's crazy. We're also going to be having Sean Whalen on this month. He's also going to be in Death House. So Kane Hodder. God, there's just so many people.
Sid Haig, Vernon Wells, Michael Berryman, Dee Wallace.
Yeah.
Just name and former Without Your Head guest, Barbara Crampton.
Yeah.
Bill Moseley.
Yep, Bill Moseley, Sid Haig. Yeah.
Camille Keaton.
Yeah.
Alyssa Rose.
Yeah, you
Tony
pretty
Moran.
much look at the list and you're like, it's a list of prior guests from on Without Your Head.
Yes, Ari Mihailov, Larry Zerner, one of our first guests ever.
No way. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's now a lawyer, and he also won the. Remember that the game show one versus 100?
Oh yeah, yep.
No, I don't remember that one.
It was maybe 5 years ago or so, and he won on that. He won like $1 million or.
No kidding. Good for him.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
So yeah, he's had a good time here, I guess, since Friday the 13th Part 3.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would say so.
He was also the man responsible for the hockey mask, because in the movie that's where Kane gets not Kane. That's where Jason gets the mask is from Shelley.
You even remembered the character's name, man. You're doing all right.
I know.
Yes.
I have a hard time keeping up with everybody, keeping them all straight.
Yeah, I can't do it. I find it impossible.
I try. But yeah, I'm super excited for this. As soon as I found out it was coming, and now January is here, it's like an extra Christmas present,
Oh yeah.
And I hope everybody enjoyed Secret Satan this year.
I know I did.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I got spoiled. So not just by Secret Satan, but you guys were great. Spoiled me. So yeah, I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas. And
all right, looks like we have Ben here. He's
wonderful.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hi,
Good
Ben.
Good thing.
Hello.
Hello. So here we'll do our intro again. Welcome to the station of decapitation. Without Your Head, I'm still Nasty Neil.
I'm still Mama Creepy.
And I remain Terrible Troy.
And now we're joined here, as you are well aware, because we're live, with Ben Fransham, Petyr of What We Do in the Shadows. How are you doing?
Hello.
Hey.
Very well. How are you guys?
It's been years in the making. Very cold. It's like 2 degrees here.
Sorry,
what was that?
Oh,
yeah, it's like 2 degrees here, I believe.
Oh, we keep talking at the same time. It's the lag. It's jet lag. I was saying it's what is it? It's 20-something degrees here.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 8 degrees. We got a cold southerly blowing through in the middle of summer, but that's, gosh, what must that be? What's autumnal for you guys in Fahrenheit?
Let me see here.
See, I believe I live in the South. I live in Louisiana, and I believe I have friends who live in New Zealand, and I think you guys and us are about the same type of weather.
Okay.
Right now, so I know right now we're cold because it's like 30 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cold.
That's for her. I'm currently 2, which is negative 16 Celsius.
Okay, that's cold.
That's cold.
In New England, it's pretty cold tonight.
That's why I moved from up there to down here in the South, where 30 degrees. I'm like, this is friggin' cold. I can't take this. This is cold.
Well, I'm sure everyone's excited to hear us talk about temperature, but.
All right, let's talk about the weather. Yeah.
Tune in tonight when we'll discuss the weather.
So, what we do in the shadows? How did you get involved in it? Were you friends with everyone? Because it seems like everyone were friends in the film.
Yeah, and if nobody was friends, particularly, they certainly were by the end of the film. Taika came to my wedding, so
wow.
Yeah, we've been friends with them for years and years. Not close friends. Jermaine is a close friend, but yes, I've known him a little longer than Taika, but not by much. And Jermaine and I had been doing a few short films together with another director friend, Jason Stutter. So we've been working together a few times beforehand, and Taika on a couple of theatre shows. So yeah, we all used to hang out together in Wellington, and university days, that kind of thing. So yeah, I did know them already. And then one day Jermaine gave me a call and said, "Hey, we'd like you to audition for our film. We've got a part we think you'd like." And they couldn't tell me too much at that point because they were still writing it, that kind of stuff. But I said, "Oh yeah, that sounds really cool." And then later on, they said, "You'll be, we'd like you to be a vampire, a Nosferatu kind of creature, and you'd basically be doing a lot of screaming and yelling, and you'd be in prosthetics. Would that be okay?" And I said, "Yep, that'll be fine." As long as it's fun.
Don't really have any lines to memorize.
That's was the first thing I asked. I said, "Is there a speaking part?" And everything said, "Not really." I said, "No, I have to do a speaking part if it's possible, just because I often do creatures and monsters and things and don't get a chance to open my big fat mouth. So can I audition for a speaking part?" And he went, yeah, sure. So I did. And they gave me the part of Petyr anyway.
And speaking of the screaming and stuff, now we've interviewed Johnny too, and we kind of asked him about this, and he didn't know either. But when you were set on fire, or when you were dying as Petyr and you were set on fire, spoiler alert, people, spoiler, cover your ears. Now I had seen, I think Taika had put it up, pictures of it and stuff on Twitter, and that it was actually you, or now was that a stunt man that got lit up on fire?
It depends who you see, because I do the partial burn. See, where you can see my face, it's me. Mm-hmm. Now that's most of it. When you see it in like a couple of seconds, I think at the most, where Petyr is fully torched, is engulfed in flame. Now, that is Aaron Eastwood, a really good stuntman who did that part for me. We shot everything at the same time. I really wanted to do both, but that would have meant hours of prep because I've got prosthetics on. They've got to be it's got to be fire gelled up, made safe, and prosthetic fingers too. So that all has to be taken off for the full torch because you wouldn't see it anyway. And there just wasn't time to do it. It was much quicker to get another experienced stunt performer in there to do it for me. So I stepped in, did the first part of the burn, and just performed that for as long as I could before it got too hot. And then I step out, and Aaron steps in, and he's got, layers and layers of wool, and his head's completely covered, and then he's layered up with fire gel, and they put my costume on him because we had two, so one got burnt, and he got covered in that, and they set him fully alight, and he burned for about 30 seconds, but you only see about 2 of it in the film.
And you also played played the Stunt Werewolf in the movie too, didn't you?
Yes, I had a great time doing that. So I got to basically maul Jermaine when he's in his white ball costume.
That must have been fun.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, it was good, yes. And I wasn't cold at all because with the big heavy suit on covered in fur, there was no chance of cooling off on that evening, whilst everyone else was going, well, it's a bit chilly.
I saw an interview you did where you said actually that you did have some lines and they were removed from the movie.
Yeah, I did a whole interview with Taika for behind the scenes as Petyr. So he sat down there in a chair in the kitchen filled with bloody dishes. And
the dishes.
Yeah, Taika, the director.
Yeah.
Interviewed Petyr. And I think that was scrapped. I think they preferred it if Petyr didn't speak.
Yeah.
He's 8,000 years old. He's completely senile.
Yeah.
Could say batshit crazy.
Now, were you familiar with Nosferatu, or did you have to do research on him?
Oh, no, I was very familiar with Nosferatu. Yeah. That wasn't a problem at all. Every chance I got, I would try to do the fingers and glide around and kind of stuff. But
you really nailed it.
Yeah, we did a photo shoot. There was at one point where everyone was away shooting a different scene that didn't have Petyr in it. So while I was fully made up, we did birthday party photos through the ages, which you see in a montage, and it's also used in some of the printed publicity material. So I posed with some balloons, and I put on a gothic torture mask, and posed a bit. There's a bit where I had to, where they built a set of a boat for me arriving in Wellington. So I emerged from that as Nosferatu-like as possible, matching an old Nosferatu scene, I think. So yeah, just trying to get the hand angles right and everything. So yeah, it was entirely left for me to be able to do it. So yeah, yes, thankfully very familiar with the roots of the character and that genre, if you will, of vampire.
Yeah, to me that's the best. That's still the best vampire, Nosferatu.
Well, of course, yeah. But thank you.
Now you've done a lot of prosthetic work. I mean, you were Elios on Ash vs. the Evil Dead. You did Petyr. You were Heron, 30 Days of Night. You played an Elven Warrior, the Ferryman. I mean, you've done a lot of work. Now, out of all those, like the work in prosthetics, which one took the longest and which one was the most uncomfortable?
Oh, that would probably easily be the Gar character from the, not Sword of Shannara. What was it called? That was another fantasy TV series, and the name of it keeps slipping my mind whenever I have to think of it impromptu. IMDb me. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look myself up. Anyway, I did another fantasy TV series, the name of which escapes me now.
The Shannara Chronicles, of course.
No, and it wasn't that.
Oh, all right. Well, not that. I meant was
yeah.
Legend of the Seeker.
Legend of the Seeker. Thank you.
All right.
This is not.
Oh, that was a pretty good show. I liked it.
Yeah, it was fun to do. But yeah, I did quite a few episodes of that too, and I think it was 6 altogether. And the Gar in that was a creature that required a complete body makeup, and I had prosthetics glued all over me, calves, knees, this weird kind of nappy of silicone rubber that was put over my ass and strapped on, so I had a sort of weird lizard-like genitalia.
Typical weekend for me. I don't know. But.
hey, steady on. It's a family show.
When in Wellington.
It took 4.5 hours every time. And it took hours to take off as well. The paint would stick so much that it was excruciating to get off. I nearly missed a flight on 2 occasions back to Wellington from Auckland because it was taking too long to remove.
Oh wow!
How does one become how does one become someone that they know is cool with getting prosthetics put on them?
It really is by reputation. Oftentimes, it is very unpleasant work in most cases. So it requires a great deal of patience and fitness as well. You've got to be healthy to be able to withstand the rigors of both being on set and being awake at very early hours, plus knowing all of your lines if you've got any. And it's hard work, and it's also claustrophobic oftentimes and frustrating. You can't see. You can't hear. There are so many times I've wasted energy keeping on going because I can't hear when they've called cut or they've called action and I haven't heard it. And they've gone, no, wait, go back, reset, bam, reset action. That's what it sounds like when you've got teeth in your mouth. Just can't hear anything. So, yeah, a lot of patience, really. And when they know you can do the job and remain patient and pleasant to work with, if you're fun to work with, you're back again.
Yeah.
That makes all the difference in the world to somebody who works as a makeup artist too, is having somebody who's patient in the chair.
Yeah, sitting still. But I've heard people go, people who've never worked on me before go, oh, it's great. You stand nice. You sit nice and still. Thank you. And I go, well, what do other people do? I mean, what would you do? Sit there?
Oh my God. I can tell you horror stories. I can tell you horror stories.
Give us for instance, sure. Like what? You don't need to name.
Oh God.
Are they just on their phones texting all the time and not paying attention?
No, the fidgeting, especially when you've got stuff that you're trying. Okay, I was doing a music video, and this was probably the biggest pain. Was one of the guys for the music video showed up so wasted, drunk, and in the music video, all the bandmates, they all ended up turning into werewolves.
Okay.
And slaughtering everybody at the show. And I think he was a guitar player. Anyways, he showed up so drunk that we had to sober him up and try and flush some of the alcohol out of his system, because none of the prosthetics or anything, the makeup would just run right off of him because of all the alcohol coming out of his pores.
That's another thing. I don't drink, so I drink very little. So yeah,
I would love to have you in my chair. You're perfect. The thing is that it was funny though, because I've had kids that I've had to turn into zombies or whatever for movies that I've been like, oh, I've got these cute little blonde hair, blue-eyed kids that I'm like, okay, are you going to be okay with this? And, and they get done. They'll sit there the whole time and take it like a champ. And then they look in the mirror and they're like, oh my God, that's so cool. They take it great. You get an adult who's in that chair for 20 minutes and they'll be whining the whole time.
So I'm like a child. Is that what you're saying? You're saying
well, along those lines, when you do see yourself in the full makeup, What's that feeling like? And does it ever change how you're going to play the creature or whatever? You know, in your mind, you're thinking you're going to play it one way, and once you see yourself in the full makeup, does it ever change?
It does. It does. Yeah. The only time I've ever really been able to rehearse for wearing prosthetics or animatronic stuff has been either for The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings or Ash vs. Evil Dead. I got about a week's rehearsal for the Eligos character, which was wonderful and a real luxury, really, because quite often because it's so expensive, they don't want to, and it's another reason why I keep getting hired is that I can kind of come up with stuff on the spot. Rehearsals cost money and makeup tests cost money and the prosthetics artists cost money. So the less rehearsals they can get away with, the better, as far as they're concerned, producers, I mean. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, but by the time you get to set, it's often looking at myself in the mirror and going, okay, what can I do? How's it working? What's not working? So I do try it out, and I do definitely modify whatever I'm performing to make the suit look good. I also ask the makeup artists what works for them, what did they envision, what's their goal for it, and I match that as much as possible because it's definitely teamwork.
Mm-hmm.
You are a dream.
Yeah, see?
You are a dream.
You mentioned Lord of the Rings. Is everyone in New Zealand like obligated to work on Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, we've all done it. We had it was a government obligatory thing. If you're on the unemployment benefit, you had to sign up and do your full.
Now that Peter Jackson is king of New Zealand, we must all obey.
We had to set aside our sheep. We went to bring our sheep.
I had a question too. Now, I know you've done some motion capture work, like on District 9, which love District 9. And that's got to be kind of difficult, trying to bring emotion through. How do you do that with motion capture work when you're trying to bring emotion through a character? Is it usually through you, or is it more that when they add the like CGI or what have you, that they add the emotion to the character?
A bit of both. It depends. If you're doing a performance capture with a bit of camera on your face, you just act as normally. Really, there's nothing. You can be. It's advisable to be as truthful as possible. So the acting performance, I feel, doesn't change. It's as truthful as any good acting should be. There's no difference. However, if they're not filming your face and it's body motion capture only, there is at times, depending on how close the digital camera is going to be on your body, you do need to be able to, I don't know, there are levels of detail you need to go to. So you can be super subtle if it's up close. So like if you had to cry or laugh, then they wanted to see the motion of the body moving as if you were crying or laughing. Mm-hmm. There's a level of integrity required in the performance that will read through, because everyone as human beings, we recognize when something is off. You might not notice it if it's all working, but when animation is a bit off and not as good as it needs to be, you as the audience member will look at it and go, oh, something was not right with what I'm watching. I don't know what it is. And as humans, we're really good at detecting that, both in real life. I mean, you look at someone who might be a bit shady. They come into a bank and they're concealing their faces. Their body language will give them away, right? But it could be really subtle, and you don't know that they're carrying a pistol and they're going to hold up the bank until they do it. You'd be able to read something not working. And it's the same when you watch film. So animators have got such a hard job to do. So to answer your question, I hope I'm answering it. Yeah, the animators do a lot. They take your performance and link it together. So you may have a great performance from one take and another great performance from another take, and the animators, being the geniuses that they are, will kind of link them all together as if you've got keyframes of performance and they will bridge it with their own animation to cut those little bits together themselves. So it really is a merging of skills where animators and actors and performers will, they both help each other, really.
What actually brought you into working on the project on District 9? I love that movie.
Oh, it's a great film.
Yeah, I love the director. I love all his work. What kind of brought you into doing that?
Well, I've always been, my brother Rod Fransham, and I both started on Lord of the Rings as stunt performers, motion capture performers mainly, where the man who was designing all the movement for Lord of the Rings, Tony Wolfe, he was being assisted by Carrie Teal. They were doing the movement design for all of the characters. And I knew Tony through stage combat stuff, where we were really both very much into medieval combat, sword fighting and stuff like that. So he knew my brother as well, and he said, I want you guys to come in, because we were both dancers and performers. He knew that we could match our movement to change. We're very versatile, so we could be a big orc or a big or an elf and be graceful and lithe, and so we could switch around and then change to an orc or a ratty little creature or a goblin, that kind of stuff. So with that versatility, we were doing a lot of these things, and we made the training video that all of the departments used, particularly stunts and animators, for all the different races that the Lord of the Rings universe had, and we just kept going from there. So yeah, that was 1999 when we started doing it.
No, when you're playing, what's the difference in your body movement if you're playing something large or something small and Weasley? Is it like your center of gravity, or what's the difference?
It would depend on the character, of course. Yeah, it depends. What a great answer. It would be with something that's heavy or tall, like a troll. It's particularly weight. There's a certain pendulousness of the limbs and how they stride and swing around. It's cumbersome, and that can be conveyed. It's more easily conveyed when you actually get someone who really is big and cumbersome. Excuse me, because they have enough of it naturally that it reads easily. Like I said, if you can't pull it off, you need to get an animator to try and fix it for you. So one of the things we would do is put ankle weights and wrist weights on the ends of our limbs, so that it would add extra weight to the body and adjust movement accordingly, because it just makes you more ponderous and slow.
Oh.
And then they change the scale of you to gigantic, so you could be a colossus striding across some desert sands. And then they put lots of little people that are regular human size in there, moving normally. And it kind of works.
Yeah.
So yes, the answer is yes, you do change.
So I know you mentioned Nosferatu, that you were familiar with them. Are you a horror movie fan?
I am. I'm not really a slasher movie fan. I've always been into like the Evil Dead movies, for instance. Oh gosh, now that I'm thinking about it, my brain is not bringing any titles to mind. American Werewolf in London. That
movie.
That kind of film has always been what I really like.
The best transformation ever.
Yeah, I love it.
Actually, I think it still rules. That sense of fun that you have in a good horror. The Scream movies I thought were brilliant. They really worked for me, because they gave you a thrill ride whilst being clever at the same time. I hate dumb horror. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't go in there, you.
Those are what I call life lesson movies. Life lesson movies.
Yes. So yeah, that kind of horror has always appealed to me, I think.
So I bet Dead Alive, I bet, is
Fright Night, yes.
big on your list.
Very good. And yeah.
Fright
The
Night
Kiwi ones, Black Sheep, and
yeah.
I like that you mentioned Fright Night because I always thought Fright Night is kind of the precursor to Scream because it's self-referential. You know, everyone in the movie knows what vampires are, just like what Scream did with all the rules for the for the slasher films.
Yes, yeah, I think it's one of the things about slasher films is that the characters are meant to be helpless, and that's part of the horror. And in a way they can work, and they can work well. But I don't mind that the characters get killed as long as they're intelligent and they do what you want them to do. It's okay. It's in fact it's worse if they're smart and they get killed. It makes it even more.
Yeah, because then
then you care.
Yeah, otherwise, like, well, the person just deserved to die.
Exactly, you got what you deserve.
I
was going to say a guilty pleasure of mine in the Resident Evil movies. I've actually, sorry for those who can't stand them, but I've enjoyed the Resident Evil films just because they're stupid fun. So,
I'm sure we all have our guilty pleasures. So.
Sorry, I cut you off.
Oh, no, we're interviewing you. No, actually, I remember 2009 night or Friday the 13th, and I remember a distinct spot where there was a wood chipper, and I'm like, this is perfect. Okay, there's somebody right there. He can easily toss them in the wood chipper. Perfect advantage, and it wasn't used. And I was just like, I should leave now. I was so disappointed. But I did want to ask, so was that you must have been pretty excited to go and work on Ash versus the Evil Dead since you were an Evil Dead fan.
Oh, I was. It was a dream come true. I really did enjoy it.
Yeah, did you like working with Bruce?
I did. He's a very funny guy. We had a good time. He can get a little grumpy, get a little terse.
Yes, he can.
Other than that, he was a total pro. No difficulties whatsoever myself. Yep. Mm-hmm.
What kind of preparation do you do to play a demon? Like as far as how you're going to move?
Quite a bit, actually. There was, like I said, I managed to get a week and a half of rehearsals, not training every day, but I had a heads up. I'd go up for a fitting and then got to talk to the director, and a mate of mine, Shane Runge, was assisting with some of the movement. He was there as a kind of a movement coach, and he was saying I'd use his eye and go, how's this? What's this looking like? And sort of stuff, because he was working on the stunt team as well. And he would tell me what worked, and he would video it, and then we'd play back the video, and together we would tweak it and change it, and then go and show the director, and made sure that he was really happy with it. And that's great. So there was a whole lot of work that went in that actually didn't even make the cut. But that's how it goes,
Mm-hmm.
Because it didn't look like you had much visibility in that costume.
Yeah, very little.
As Iglios. Yeah. And you twitched. You were twitchy. You're a little twitchy in that.
And the visual effects made me kind of vibrate.
Mm-hmm.
I was very twitchy myself. I don't even think they needed the vibration myself.
Just feed you a lot of coffee.
Visual effects guys probably didn't like my movement, because they're going, damn it, now we got to hold him still so that we can vibrate him because he's twitching.
Speaking with like the the CGI and the animators and everything, you do a lot of work where you're wearing prosthetics, which is great. I love old school, just using prosthetics and stuff like that. But do you prefer movies that have more practical effects or CGI, or like now I see a lot, and we've talked about this with other people too, more of they're kind of becoming more a symbiotic relationship of practical and CGI now.
Yes. No, I'm definitely pro practical effects, as much in camera as possible. And you can enhance with the CG. Visual effects can enhance things, but I'm much prefer models and the prosthetic creatures, animatronics, that sort of stuff. So it's just something to be said for being able to have it in frame with the other actors. Just it gives it a certain something that it's kind of charming in a way, because it does have a nostalgic feel to it as well. Like going back to Critters and Gremlins and
yeah. I mean, I honestly think even like poorly done practical effects are much more fun than poorly done CGI effects.
Oh gosh, yeah. 10 times much more, definitely.
And also, I think there's a weight involved. That's what I think. Even if you're not aware of it, there's always something off if something is completely CG, unless there's exceptions for something that's really done well. But
that's part of it. I think if you can do it in camera, there's a reality to it that it'll look real or it won't, and you kind of buy into it. But if it's CG, you already know it's fake. So if it doesn't look real, you just keep thinking it's fake. It's not even. It's not happening. Yeah, that blood was added later. I it was not blood.
Yeah. That almost always looks bad. The CG like blood that if it's shooting out. I don't know. Like
very hard to animate. So hard to animate.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know. It's very rare. That or fire very rarely looks good.
Yeah, that's true. Although the fire animation now has really come a long way. Sometimes that was fake.
So maybe I don't know. Well, are you anything for us to look forward to that you're working on right now?
I just before Christmas finished working on a little What We Do in the Shadows spin-off TV series.
Very good.
Wellington Paranormal.
That's the one. Yes, Wellington Paranormal. Can't tell you anything more about it at this stage, but it's going to be fun. The bits I've seen, the scripts that I've read for it, just delightful. I think I hope it gets a worldwide release of some kind. I don't know how or what yet, but yeah, it'll be out in New Zealand first, sometime next year, 2018. So yeah, stay tuned because I hope you guys get to see it. Should be really good.
Cool.
Yeah, so we're excited.
I don't know if you know him or not, but Lawrence Harvey of Human Centipede 2 told me to ask you about that, and he's looking forward to it.
Oh, cool. That's nice.
Yeah, he's a very good guy. So it's been awesome to have you here, and hopefully we'll have you back sometime, maybe for Wellington.
Nice to talk to all of you. Thank you. And
thanks so much.
To interview me. That's lovely.
Yeah, feel free to come back anytime.
Yeah, well, feel free to get me over and give me a job, damn it.
We'll get our people on it. Don't get too excited because that probably doesn't mean much.
Sounds good, though.
Yeah, it does. All right, well, have a good evening.
Yep.
Have a happy New Year.
And to you guys too. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
This is Luke Hawker, Krampus, and you're listening to Without Your Head.